Chairman Whitehouse, Ranking Member Grassley, members of the committee, I'm honored to be invited to testify before you today on the subject of lessons learned, leadership perspective, and experience in the national costs of climate change. I have spent my career in public service in the great state of Iowa and the United States of America. Leadership is a privilege that I do not take for granted. After 3 terms in the Iowa House of Representatives from 73 to 79, I served as lieutenant governor from 79 to 83 and then governor 83 to 99, and again 2011 to 2017. Iowa's unemployment rate went from 8.5% when I took office to a low of 2.5%, and I left office in 1999 with the biggest budget surplus in history, and then with taking a $90 million deficit to a $900 million surplus. When I became governor for the second time in 2011, Iowa had a projected deficit of $700 million. Needless to say, running a deficit was not acceptable on my watch. Once again, we turned projected deficits into surplus, and now Governor Kim Reynolds is doing an outstanding job of keeping us on track. Iowa ended fiscal year 2022 with a surplus of $1.91 billion in the general fund, $830 million in reserve funds, and $1.06 billion in the taxpayer relief fund. Focusing on the budget, cutting taxes, and instituting growth-oriented policies is a proven formula for success, and the Iowa example shows it. As Iowa's former governor, it's clear to me how agriculture can be a significant boon to our economy and have an enormous positive impact on climate change. America's agriculture leadership gives our farmers a competitive advantage in the global marketplace and the opportunity to lead the world in food and energy. The agriculture potential of the world is still virtually untapped. Plants, including corn, wheat, and rice, are just essential to feeding the world's population, but also they are the Earth's best batteries and nature's best solar panels. Researchers at Carnegie Institution in Stanford University estimate that up to 1.8 million square miles of abandoned lands globally, the equivalent of half of the land in the U.S., are available to grow energy crops. The most significant opportunities for agriculture in the U.S. to bring down emissions are continuing to increase yields on existing cropland, utilizing abandoned cropland effectively, and unleashing the power of renewable biofuels. U.S. crop yields have skyrocketed thanks to continuous innovations in precision farming and seed technology, coupled with good old American ingenuity. According to the USDA, even as the amount of land and labor used in farming declined, total farm output nearly tripled between 1948 and 2019. Farming practices such as no-till cover crops are quickly expanding across the Midwest and are becoming more profitable because of reduced fertilizer use, reducing the input cost for farmers. Today, 1 bushel of corn produces 2.9 gallons of ethanol fuel, 15 pounds of agriculture feed, and 16 pounds of captured biogenic carbon dioxide for bottling, dry ice, and wastewater treatment, and others. Thus, ethanol reduces life cycle greenhouse gas emissions by 40%, 46% compared to gasoline. Once again, we can reduce our emissions and improve our economic standing at the same time. Alarm is not the answer. As a country, we should support energy diversity and development of all domestic resources, creating an all-of-the-above energy strategy. Wind energy now provides 60% of Iowa's electricity. I signed Iowa's pioneering RPS back in 1983. This wind energy standard directed Iowa utilities to incorporate renewables into the state's energy mix, and it continues to drive billions of dollars in private investment in Iowa. The use of renewables can help us build our manufacturing base, create jobs, lower energy costs, and strengthen our energy security. In fact, nearly all of the nation's high-tech companies have placed data centers in Iowa because of our action. Iowa's wind energy standard has now been copied by over 20 other states. My experience as ambassador to China put Iowa's economic success into greater perspective. I have visited the Soviet Union as well as China, and I've seen the disastrous effects of socialism. Free enterprise and limited government are absolutely critical for economic vitality. China is the largest greenhouse gas emitter, and its water, soil, and air quality are extremely poor. I witnessed it firsthand. State-owned enterprises that control fuel distribution in China refuse to replace MTBE with ethanol. All 50 American states have banned MTBE which is a carcinogenic, for over 15 years. The actions that the Chinese government has taken demonstrate that they are not serious about water quality or soil quality for the benefit of the health of the Chinese people. It's unconscionable the way the Chinese government has treated the Uyghurs, the followers of Falun Gong, and most recently the residents of Hong Kong is totally unconscionable. Unfortunately, America's good intentions have been taken advantage of by the Chinese Communist Party. We need to be more vigilant in response to the threat to dominate the world economically, politically, and militarily. Just recently, I read this book, Getting China Wrong. It talks about how America has gotten China wrong for a long time, and we need to change our policies in order to preserve America's worldwide leadership. I look forward to questions and further discussion. Thank you.